how to master detachment and win at life in 90 days. Because life is not about forcing your way through neediness and desperation to grasp for the outside things that you want. But life is about cultivating such a powerful internal state that reality has zero authority over you. So whether you're looking to get your dream job in 90 days, grow your business, start your business, and have increased life expansion in 90 days, today we're gonna ascend above the thing and get what we want. All right, let's get started. When it comes to wanting the things that we want, especially myself in the past and sometimes right now, is that we are attached. We need it because we're not complete without it. So the thing is, there's this version of you right here, and these are the things that you want. Let's just say that objectively, there's a 120 grand Google job. As somebody that, grew up in an ecosystem where working in a reputable firm and having a 6-figure salary is so important because that's the determining factor of success, that's all we've ever wanted. But let's just say that you became ambitious and you also want to manifest, a 7-figure business later on in your life. But it's not just about the money and the business and professional life, but you also want to be nourished by beautiful friendships, community. You want to be with a partner who absolutely supports you to be at your best and he's just so amazing kind of thing. So a partner that's of match to the best version of you. And you also want beautiful, soul nourishing friendships that are not about Patty, I think we're soul sisters and we're aligned. And I think we must have had a bond from the past life. So, honey, can you do this for me? Oh, babe, can you just, help me out with this? None of that bullcrap. Actual, unconditional friendships. Beautiful, unconditional friendships. Whether it's in your childhood years and growing up to adults, or even attracting high quality adult friendships with zero transactional thing going on. Let's just say that life in general that you want, a life that is deeply satiating for you, where there's money, there's health, there's friendship, there's romantic love, there's love all over around you. And you are operating down here. As long as you need it, as long as you feel this desperation for it, the way that I did, the need and the desperation creates this ceiling. And so no matter what you do, to strive towards it. So you can literally go and join communities to make friends. You can overgive if you want. You can work for free for people, so you can, because you work for free and you're helping out, they count you as a friend. But as long as you work for them for free, the way that I used to. In terms of a job, you can be sending out 100 resumes. You can go to Google head office with the wrong energy and try to absorb the vibration, and still you don't get what you want. You can have a lot of job interviews. You can get onto a bunch of sales calls and you can send out a bunch of cold DMs. In the physical realm, you can also go on dating apps, which is not for me, but works for others. But it's interesting with dating apps because they talk about this whole theory and the data behind 10% of the people attract the whole pool kind of thing. But when it comes to love, why are we even considering data and percentage and having to understand those things? When all you have to do is be the source of love for other people and have some self-respect and really nourish your life well so that you can attract people in real life without having to swipe 1,000 times for it. My opinion though. But you can go on dating apps and you can go on a bunch of wrong dates before you're gonna write one. And you can just like waste your time, message a bunch of people for no reason and just waste your energy for no reason. But because even if on the surface, like I used to be, you're confident on the surface, but at the core of it, you need it to satiate your life. And you're like low-key desperate. Like, I need it now. My biological clock is kicking up. My biological clock is ticking. I need to get married now. I need to like have kids now. Like, otherwise it's too late. Coming to my 30s now. If any of these emotions at the core of it exist inside of you, no matter what physical, correct actions you take, you will never, ever penetrate above this ceiling. So the key is to not try and like slam yourself against the ceiling. No. The key is to remove the ceiling by removing needing it and removing the desperation. And the thing is, you can actually acknowledge that you're desperate for it in an honest way, because when you are aware that deep down you're a bit like, oh my God, I need to get married now and have kids now because I'm 30 now, kind of thing inside. But on the outside, you're like, no, I'm cool. I'm just like looking to focus on myself and love myself, kind of thing. But one day you just get honest with yourself that deep down, I feel that way. I don't. But for others, a lot of women do. Just being aware of it is you rising above it. And just being aware of it makes you less desperate because you're willing to look at it eye to eye. The minute that you get rid of the desperation and the neediness, now what happens is that you break the ceiling to then elevate into the version of you who is in harmony with the end state. And it's interesting because yesterday, I know Bob Proctor for a long time, but I watched one of his videos. And he talked about how you have to be in harmony with the things that you want, which is kind of like saying you have to be a vibrational match or a resonance. But it was interesting how he used the word in harmony with the thing by raising your consciousness to be a match. So therefore, we're going to do this in a tangible way. Let's go. So before I filmed this video, while I was doing my makeup, I was turning on Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. And he was really emphasizing the concept of I am. Let the weak man say, I am strong. So let the needy version of you say, I am detached, by having a detached frequency. Detached frequency, detached self-concept, detached inner identity. And by doing that, we're going to continue from what I said just then, which is, for 90 days at least, there's this version of you, the egoic version, who doesn't want to face her demons inside herself like I used to. And you're not acknowledging head on that you need it or you're desperate for it, but you want to come off like, I'm good, I know these materials, no, I don't really need this, I don't really need that. But deep down at the core of it, yes, your inner child hasn't really healed from it, and you do want it. So what you're going to do is you're going to be aware of it, but then after that, because you're aware, you're willing to surrender to your egoic self and take the elevator up to the version of you who is living in the end state of being deeply satiated by life and nourished by people around you. So therefore, as you elevate into this version of you who lives in the end state, naturally your decisions, your habit, your action, your mental attitude, your thought, your emotions, your belief, your attention, your expectation, your focus, your self-talk. The thing is, when you are this aligned version of you, but let's just say that reality takes a bit of time for frequency to solidify into matter. Let's just say as soon as you mentally decide to commit to the version of you whose decisions align with the version of you in the end state, your habit, action, mental attitude, thoughts, emotions, belief, attention, expectation, focus, and self-talk, they are all very congruent to the end state, to the best of your ability. Your baseline, your natural baseline is going to be, let's just say here. And let's just call this baseline your consciousness. But you're operating as the egoic version of you. You can use brute force to do anything. But your natural baseline, let's just say it's going to penetrate around here. And that's your consciousness. The interesting thing about a detached frequency is that I'm going to show you how both versions of you go about executing these things within the baseline of where you're operating at. So the version of you who needs to be satiated by life from the outside, she can take whatever step from this current baseline. But interestingly, because her baseline is low, and there's a possibility that you can also dip below this baseline, naturally, no matter what brute force action you take, the highest you can ever get is this point in terms of ceiling to your consciousness. And you know what this blue line, the ceiling, is made from? Ready? Your ego is the ceiling. So no matter what you do, let's just say you decide, okay, I'm deciding I'm gonna go on a dating app and I'm just gonna like DM, no, actually no, you're not gonna DM. You're just gonna text and filter out your options and have 5, 6, 7 people in your inbox and hopefully one of them becomes the one kind of thing. But if your consciousness is in the state where it's like, you don't have what you want, no matter who comes into your life, it's not going to be resonant with the version of you who has the beautiful, harmonious relationship that nourishes your life and pushes you to be the best version of you. And that's the same with getting a job and landing the sales that you want. So therefore, because the egoic version of you is unaware of this, everything that she does is going to come from a state of subtle needing, subtle desperation. And the thing is that the first 14 days, let's just say like, you start to make some beautiful like progress, and you actually do end up going above this baseline, like this ceiling, because you're optimistic, so you have a beginner's luck. But reality starts to swing you back on the 14 days mark, and you're starting to dip low. You're starting to get rejection the way that I did. You're starting to get ghosted, and things just start to fall apart. And in the manifestation community, they call these like a lot of things third parties. People interfere, situations interfere to block you from getting things that you want. The thing is, you can read so many books. So let's just say this egoic version of you, now she's like, damn it, I'm dipping. Let me go and do robotic affirmations. That's not enough. Let me just go into Canva and start like accumulating beautiful pictures of, romantic relationships and villas and vacations and Forbes 30 under 30, the way that I used to, Forbes 30 under 30, and get like, the logo and slap it onto Canva so that I can print it out and make it be my vision board. Because for some people, those things work. But for me, it didn't work. Well, let me do that. Vision boards help me visualize the feeling. And let me do a bunch of rituals, self-love rituals, get some candles and, drink some hot water and, do a prayer that, everything's here and ho'oponopono and, nothing wrong with that. Like, those things work. But the thing is, you can do all that stuff, the spiritual stuff. You can even get out a tarot card and predict your future. You can do self-love journaling and gratitude journaling. But as this version of you, you start doing these things. But even though you do it, you have skepticism. So in this other video, I was talking about the 5 hindrances that block you from making reality obey you. And those 5 hindrances were sensual desire, aversion, skepticism, dullness, and restlessness. And if one of these things hits you, especially skepticism, because now that you're starting to get rejected, you feel skeptical about life. The minute you feel that way, and then there's this subtle neediness and desperation is still in your system, like you just won't penetrate above this line now because your ego is in the way. But then when you dip, you start dipping below your baseline even, and it's starting to look bad. It's getting bad. So then you try, but then like it just doesn't. Sometimes it does, and then sometimes it doesn't, and then eventually you get back to zero. So it's interesting because like I feel like for every time we try to outsmart our old self, reality. So you try to ascend by 100, but then your old self swings you back down by -100. So you end up breaking even at 0. Or if you don't try to even come back up after that, you stay cooked, basically. So the thing is, combined with you not really being aware what your hindrances are, for me it was sensual desire. But let's just say that you're restless, and now you're having monkey mind all over the place, and your mental knot, it's like really, really tight, like a wool, and then it gets into a knot, and it's just so hard to undo. Even with robotic affirmations and subliminals and hypnosis and I love myself, universe has your back, and you're reading a bunch of spiritual books and you're trying to digest all these things, you don't penetrate above the ceiling of your ego in the way. So that's why we don't want to even associate ourselves with the world where our ego exists. We want to elevate our consciousness beyond our ego, surrendering to our old self, letting go of your 3D, like letting go of what you're experiencing in the 3D and coming back to your inner senses so that you create your own life and not be enslaved to 3D conditions. Therefore, as this version of you, who's now like her baseline, she's calibrated to a level where she's not associated with this level at all. There's no awareness of it, there's no attention on it. Naturally, when she starts to make decision, it's a self-honoring decision. So let's just say like, I want to improve, but because she's starting from a high baseline, and all it takes from here to here is just, let's just say 50 more steps, let's just say. So let's just say this is 50 more steps, but this one from here to here is 10,000 more steps, right? All it takes is for you to maintain a high baseline by getting out of the way and just taking a break from like micromanaging. When is he going to text back? When they're going to get back to? When am I going to blow up? When is the algorithm going to acknowledge my work? Kind of thing. And you take a break from it. So therefore, you still take the action. You still do, I don't do robotic affirmations, but I do gentle affirmations where you gently remind yourself and affirm to yourself that everything's good. I have what I want. It's all good now. Things are great. So instead of robotic, I prefer gentle affirmations because I want to live in a real life, and I don't want my life to be about I love myself on a loop, but then I don't really create evidences that I love myself. So therefore, gentle affirmations, but then you also prove to yourself that you love yourself. You might take yourself to spa bath on the days that you really want to do spa bath. You might take yourself to do your hair, to do your makeup on the days you feel like you really want it. So interestingly, I feel that when I'm really good at listening to myself and asking me, what do you want this week? Because maybe this week, I want to go see Michael Jackson's premiere a lot. But then a month ago, I didn't. And then when you catch on that and you're like, I really want to see it, you physically act on it. And that is called making self-honoring decisions. Because when you start stacking that, what happens is that you're now starting to build this harmonious, beautiful relationship with yourself where you have a lot of self-trust. That if my higher self, Patty, says, I really want to nourish my soul today by going to see this movie, by reading this book, by getting enough sleep, by sleeping in a bit, by rejuvenating myself properly, by not being overly productive, by maybe skipping swim this week and going to do 15 minutes cold plunge instead yesterday because I was tired from filming. You listen to yourself, So you have self-trust. So then when you dip, it's like, but I have self-trust. So then when you dip, it's not like you have to grasp for anyone outside of you to help you get satiated. You can actually come back up easily. And again, all it takes is a few more steps, and then eventually you reach this exponential point, the inflex point at the 45 days mark. Because it's interesting, because we only fall to as low as our minimum standard. So if you want to be detached and have a detached frequency, why not we remove ourselves from even operating at a low standard and just like, take the elevator up to be the version of you who, like, you are certain that even if reality says you're not a 10 out of 10, but internally you're like, but I show up as 100% version of myself. Because of that, now it is easier for us to move on to the second step. So let's go. Now, one very interesting concept about the universe is that imagine if, as a woman, and you meet a guy and he absolutely showers you with compliments. Oh, you're so beautiful. I've never met a woman like you. You inspire me so much. You're just so lovely. And I just don't know why you're so... I had a guy say that to me in February. And he's really attractive and fit and everything. And he was like, I don't know what it is about you, but you're just so beautiful. But by that time, I was doing gentle affirmations that I was beautiful all the time anyway, so I know that. So I'm just like, but you're going back to New York tomorrow. So I'm just here so that, because it's your last day in Sydney. So I don't mind having coffee before you go to New York, but go back to New York. And I know I'm not going to be seeing this person anyway. So when he was like, yeah, there's just something about you that's so beautiful, I really appreciate it. More than anything, I respect his character as a person. So he never needs to say any of those stuff. I already respect him. But it's just weird because if you have a guy that said that to you, because he's hoping that if he says that to you, and coupled with paying $200 for your meal and giving you roses, but then he's doing it because he wants you to go back home with him that night. How do you feel? I understand we're in Gen Z, Gen Z period, and that's how dating works, where it's transactional as hell. But how do you feel? Or if you're a man and you do all these beautiful things for the lady that you want, but then she's in it for your money. So she's willing to make time for you and she's willing to go out with you because secretly she hopes that you will spoil her with money. So I understand with dating, you kind of have to consider hypergamy and all that stuff, but how do you feel? You feel used. So again, when it comes to the universe or reality, if you're saying things repeatedly and you intend things like, I have to do X to feel Y, or I have to do X to get Y, how do you think your higher self will feel? Because the universe is the universe, and that's how you talk to yourself. I have to wine and dine her so she comes home with me tonight. I have to get on the call with Joe so that he pays for my service today. And if he doesn't, I'll get pissed off. I have to make sure that when I send out 100 DMs, this has to work this month. So in a way, you're putting conditions. And I totally understand that in reality, in 2026, we expect instant physical results. For example, when you go on a diet, but you're not really calibrated at a level where you're fit. So you're saying, if I starve myself for the next 7 days, I expect to lose 10 kilograms, kind of thing. Like, I have to starve myself to feel hot. I have to date people I don't want to date to feel loved, kind of thing. So if you keep doing that with the universe, how do you think the universe will respond to you? It will feel like you have a transactional relationship with the universe. So you're having a transactional relationship with yourself, and you're pretty much bargaining for what you want on an energetic level, because again, the universe is mental and everything is created from within first. So if you're transactional within, how do you think the world's gonna treat you without? Transactional. If you are exploitative with the universe, the way that people used to be with me, where I'll definitely be nice to Patty, but only if she works for me for free. I'll definitely give her time of the day as long as she edits this video for me, as long as she does this for me. And I hated that kind of relationship. I hated it. So then, if you're saying that I'm not capable of feeling secure without having to take disrespectful actions towards myself, then how is the universe going to respond to you? So that's why I want to share with you this. The first version of you is taking action in a way that is bargaining with the universe. This is your egoic self. And this is the version of you who's elevated her consciousness to be of match to the end state. So she's starting everything from the end, and she's seeing her current life as it's done, it's complete. But the thing is, this version of you, what's happening is that you're bargaining with the universe. So you're saying, if I read X book, in 7 days, my life has to change. And then it doesn't. So you feel let down. You dip. Then you do it again. Today, I'm gonna go for a swim, and I have to meet a hot guy today. I really have to. And then sometimes, because, well, it didn't happen with me, but let's just say that it happens randomly. Because there was a period where I wanted inner peace, but people just kept interrupting my space and didn't really like that. But let's just say I'm here to swim, secretly hoping that I'll meet someone. And then instead, the universe gives you the opposite. They give you the men that you don't really want to interact with. So they kind of disturb your peace, and they, give you swimming advice or something, which it happened to you for. Well, I felt really frustrated when that happened. When I just kept having people give me maybe you should do this and that, but I didn't ask for your advice, kind of thing. So now you're starting to dip, but then you still try again. Today, I'm gonna get on a call with Jane to do a 45 minutes discovery session, but I'm expecting that after this discovery session, she's gonna pay me $5,000 up front for my online course. Have you been on those calls with those people where or at least I did, I got on a call with this young gentleman, and he's lovely, but I can feel that he really wants me to close, the deal to close. So even though he was really lovely, but I can feel it that you want something from me. Can you not give me a discovery call, and just if I don't have the capacity to really pay you within the 6 months period, can you just at least, be okay about it? But I feel a lot of times when it comes to salespeople, I don't know why. I don't know why I feel they really want you to pay the upfront either now, or find a way for you to pay the installments when you don't really have the money to do installments. So it's just weird. I understand, but I don't like the feeling. And do you think the universe will like the feeling if you're if I get on a call with Jane, and Jane is struggling with her life, but you have an online course that's $5,000, and you promise Jane, if you take my course, my coaching, I will change your life. But then Jane is not in the financial capacity to pay you $5,000. She's got debt. She's got things she has to take care of. She's got bills. She's got a life that she's struggling with, and she doesn't have the money ready for you. But then you're like, but Jane, you have to pay today because I want the call with you, otherwise you're wasting my time. How do you think Jane will feel? And how would you feel if you were Jane? But yet, we take action like that. We're like, she has to pay today. And this is the same thing with like companies back then when I used to work in sales. Like, so when she doesn't, again, you're frustrated, you're agitated, and you're even resentful. Like, she wasted 45 minutes of my time kind of thing, which I used to feel like maybe I wasted their time because I don't have the money to pay on this call kind of thing. But then like, sometimes in sales organization, I had people like pressuring us, like, you've got to do 100 outreach. You've got to like do 100 calls. And there's a competition. So they encourage you to compete against each other on who made the most sales so that you're motivated to make the sale. But it's like, if the person doesn't have the money to pay you, just don't force them. But in the world of sale, it's like people will do anything to like get people to shell out money from the wallet when the money's empty. And I think it's just not nice. So if you're saying to yourself, like, he has to pay or close, he has to close, or I go to a job interview and he has to give me the job, otherwise I'm going to be so pissed off. What are you signaling out to the universe? What are you signaling out? That your world is scarce. That your world is scarce. You know, I think like the fundamental thing of living a rich life is just having some compassion for people without expecting them to give us anything in return. And it just frustrates me so much that like the world is like this, because we must practice the art of embodying abundance. And not just embodying abundance in terms of money and time. And I understand, we've got to protect our energy and protect our time and stuff. But if there comes a time where you have to encounter situations where it might look like a loss on the outside, but if you can encourage somebody to feel better after the call with you, even if they don't give you money, but as somebody who's abundant, you're gonna be detached. And so then this egoic version of you, by 90 days, she's plateauing. She's plateauing because there's a break even. So basically, she takes herself up by 100. But then when she gets on the sales call, the call doesn't close and she feels frustrated. And that frustration, discouragement and disappointment is the minus 100, which then breaks you back to break even, which is a plateau. So you don't really get anywhere because your energy didn't compound in a way where it's detached, where it's abundant, and you know that you're the source. So you don't have to force people to do the things that they're not ready to do. Whereas this version of you who's taken the elevator up, what she's purely focused on is her internal world. So instead of Patty, who's not needy, instead of her asking, how could I make Jane pay $5,000? She's asking herself, how can I have a beautiful conversation with Jane on this discovery call? That's how I felt when I used to do interview coaching. And sometimes I have to either get on discovery call, but later on, like I would close the sale literally with text. Like they would just be like, okay, let's start. I'm ready to pay without having to get on a call. But my intention for everybody that come to my orbit at the time was that they don't have to pay me. I want them to, but if they don't pay me, at least they receive something nice from me. They walk away feeling empowered from talking to me. So therefore, because she focused on internal world and she focused on giving herself what she wants, and those feelings are emotions like security, certainty, abundance. And she's feeling like reassured. She's feeling okay. She's feeling relieved. And she gives herself that feeling every day based on how she primes her internal world. What happens is that naturally, because she's overflowing with security and I'm okay, I'm relaxed, I'm all right. When another one of these calls come, or you get on the call with Joe, and Joe's like, I'm not ready to pay you this amount. I'm not ready to pay you 100 grand. You're not going to get pissed about it. But someone who's attached, because they have a transactional relationship with the universe, if somebody gives them a no, like, I'm not paying you 100 grand today, or I'm not paying you $5,000 for your course today, and I'm not even going to give you an installment, like no installment. The version of you who is detached, her response, she might dip a bit. She might feel like, I wish they did. But she's going to say, it's okay. It's okay. And so because there's like neutrality and acceptance towards the opposite, because you accept that the opposite circumstance, you're not putting the other, like the alternative, positive circumstance on a high pedestal. So when the 3D reality gives you a no, it doesn't make you go to a low dip. And then when reality gives you a yes, you don't go into a spike either. You're just stable. And because this is stable, like this building block is really nice and stable, you start reaching your inflex point to be at the end eventually. Let's just say this is day 60. So inner stability is pretty much you making sure this whole journey from day 0 to day 60 is as stable internally as possible. So that no matter who throws you a, I'm not ready to pay. Sorry, I'm not ready to be in a relationship with you. Sorry, I'm not ready to do this with you. Sorry, life is not ready to give you what you want in the first 60 days. How you react to it is what determines the manifestation, not the actual thing itself. So if you're like, from an elevated conscious version of you who's certain, she's certain that I already give myself the end state, so I don't have to bargain with the 3D and be like, no, but if I discount this, can you pay today, kind of thing. But you have a high self-trust. So another one of these hit you, you tell yourself that it's okay. Because I feel secure, I get the pay. Not I have to get paid in order to feel secure. That's really important. So, let's move on to the third point. Now, the final thing I want to share with you on this journey to mastering detachment and winning at life is that you have to narrow down the space between where you are and where you want to be. So I'm going to show you two versions of this, which I found so interesting when you understand this on a visual level. So let's just say the egoic version of you is this one, okay? So this is the egoic version of you. And this is her desired reality. The step between her and the actual thing that she wants is 10,000 steps or more, 10,000 plus steps. But the version of you who has what you want, interestingly, the distance between her and her desired reality is only, are you ready for this? 5 steps. Like when I thought of this, I was just like, wow, it makes sense. It makes sense. When I wrote this down yesterday, like at the shopping, I was just like writing it down and stuff. And I was like, no, but it's not about you walking towards it. So I'm trying to ask you, do you want to walk 10,000 plus steps towards where you want to be? Or do you just want to take 5 correct steps and have the thing come to you? Because what I really found fascinating in the concept that Nero talked about was the desire of your desire and making the thing that you desire come to you. And the thing that makes your desire come to you is your frequency. It's the frequency of having, or this I am that has. And this is where you have what you already have. And Wayne Dyer talks about this when I used to listen years ago, like maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. And I was listening to Wayne Dyer's like Ask and It Is Already Given Audible. Actually, it was Esther Abraham's book, but Wayne Dyer was reading it. And the way that it sunk in was really powerful, because Wayne Dyer talks about the concept of vibrationally paying yourself $1,000. And Wayne Dyer would talk about how if you go window shopping and you put like vibrational $1,000 in your pocket while you window shop, what you can do is tap into the feeling state that if I saw that bikini that I really wanted at Baku Bikini, or I go to Honey Birdette and I see a lingerie set that I really want and it's $300 and I can't really afford it on that day, I vibrationally pay myself that thing by giving myself the experience of having that thing. And I used to do this before bed, where like I picture this card, this credit card, that when I go to Westfield and I see like the bikini that I want, which I always want bikinis, Australian brand bikinis, instead of, like good quality fabric. And sometimes I see a Chanel fragrance, sometimes I see Sephora lipsticks, sometimes I see eyeshadow palettes that are like $70 and they're overpriced obviously, but I want it. And I see the little things that I want, but I can't pay for it in the physical world. There was a night where I was just so anxious that I just imagined myself having this card and I tap, 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 tap every place I want to get those things from. And I don't even want designer bags. I just want the Sephora makeup, the foundation and the lipstick and like the Stila, like glitter, the Stila glitter for the eyes and stuff like that, like $40. And all I want is just that bikini. And all I want is just that lingerie. And I just imagine myself, yes, you have it, you have the Chanel fragrance, you have it all. And I fell asleep that night just feeling so powerful that actually, like, I can do something better tomorrow to be closer to it. So I might not have it in the physical world, but eventually it led me to doing a whole bunch of things that got me closer to that reality. And eventually, in a very, very weird way, I did end up having the money to pay for the bikini that I wanted. Interestingly, last year, like, it just came out of nowhere. It was a random money. I'm like, oh, it's accessible. Okay, I'll pay for it. It's just one set of bikini. And I was so happy about it. So, and in terms of fragrance as well, because I had the money, like, it came out of nowhere after I was doing this. Instead of buying Chanel's one, I just bought a Gucci one. And it's just like, today I use it and I feel great. The reason I'm telling you this is because vibrationally paying yourself means that you don't have to take 10,000 unnecessary steps towards your desired reality. But you can take 5 powerful and correct steps. And what I'm trying to say is that this here is what you call aligned action. Okay? But this line that I told you about is egoic action or blind action. And it's just taking a very, very long route towards your reality. So there are some people on YouTube that blow up on YouTube with less videos and they get to like 100 grand subscribers in like a month or 3 months. I've seen like many creators that blow up from like, 0 to 100 grand in 3 months, in 90 days with 1 or 2 videos. That's them filming the right videos because it takes aligned action to make that aligned content, and it only takes, 2 or 3, like a few videos. Whereas my old self and a lot of creators who might go into YouTube with like, at least my old self, and even a bit like right now, like I want to go viral. Like my old self wanted to go really, really viral. And what we would do is we'd film videos frantically and follow all these advices. And they say to you, you've got to post consistently and focus on volume. Don't worry about perfect content, just up the volume. But if your content is not resonating like that, even if you upload 500 uploads the way that I did on my old YouTube, 500 uploads, 10,000 plus steps, 200 long videos, 300 YouTube shorts, it's not gonna get you the desired reality. You might still end up here instead of there. And you don't wanna go about business, closing deals, getting a job, that kind of way. So then, the key is not for you to take 10,000 steps. You don't have to use human power to take 10,000 steps. The key is to shorten the distance along the way. So instead of you asking, how can I take more action, hence taking more steps, the powerful question to ask yourself is, how can I shorten the distance by, again, elevating your consciousness to be in the end state. And then you slowly tap into what you have to do next. But you can do this literally by, again, falling asleep in the alpha brainwave state, or you sit in a relaxed position and you impress your subconscious to be in the state of receptive mode, where I have it, it's done. And in the half awake world where you're about to doze off to sleep, you flood yourself with the intense, vivid experience of receiving the recognition that you want, the love that you want. Congratulations, Patty, you did it. Or I thought that I always knew it was gonna be this easy. Like, I always knew I was gonna do it, but it was easier than I thought. So after you have people congratulating you, giving you a hug, this is something that Nero talks about, but it's actually in Neville Goddard's as well, where he was talking about, I think in Power of Awareness, where just then I was listening to it when I was doing my makeup, and he was like, if you were successful and you had a bigger office, you would then have people congratulating you, but also people being skeptical towards your success. So then you would have people maybe hugging you or cheering for you and, touching and saying, well done, or shaking hands with you. But then you also tell yourself things like, I always knew I was gonna do it. It's so easy. Like, when I win something, I always say to myself things like, oh, but it wasn't that hard. Oh, a 15 minutes cold plunge. I didn't know I was gonna do it, but it wasn't that hard. I mean, I thought it was gonna be harder, but it wasn't hard. It was easy. So like, things like it was easy. I knew it somehow. Like, I kind of knew it. Coupled with the vivid experience of you being in that world where people congratulate you, they recognize you, they appreciate you, they see you. Because ultimately, what we want to feel, what we want to always feel is seen. We want to feel seen. We want to feel appreciated. But what if we don't have to take 10,000 steps to feel this way? What if it takes no steps for you to feel appreciated and seen, but all it takes is you giving some time for yourself to enter this alpha brainwave state, to impress your subconscious to the point where you enter the inner reality of being secure, safe, seen, appreciated, recognized. And when you come out of it in the waking world, you have a lot of self-trust that it's working. And because you have self-trust, you focus on shortening the gap between you and the thing that you want. So every time your subconscious gets impressed, the distance shortens more. So that's what you want to do. You want to keep shortening the distance. So again, if the distance is still far, okay, I do my subconscious again, and I take a series of aligned action along the way to prove that I am what I am. I am what I say that I am. And then once you successfully impress your subconscious and you create some tangible evidence, aligned action by the way, again, the distance gets shortened. So now from 10,000 steps, it's only like 500 left. And then you keep going and going and going until it merges with you completely. So maybe like one more step, one more aligned action. And then eventually, you and your desired reality become one. You guys merge fully in the physical reality. But the thing is, the merging of you and what you want, whether that is landing the job at Google, whether that is getting the sales that you want, whether that is growing the business that you want, meaning that you get multiple yeses from multiple clients. Because think about it with money. It's like, if you want to make 20 grand months or more, I used to think it was hard. I used to think you got to grow your audience and this and that. But because let's just say all it takes for you to make 20 grand on that day. I used to think about this all the time because I used to think it was hard and like very far off. But let's just say there's like, 10 people who say yes to you. All it takes is yes from here, yes from there, yes from here, yes from there. But in order for you to get multiple yeses, you have to say yes to yourself. Yes, Patty, I will commit to doing this today. Yes, Patty, I will show up for you. Yes, Patty, we will take a break and go into our alpha brainwave state and become relaxed and impress our subconscious. Yes, Patty, you want to go bathhouse? Yesterday I did. I'll take you there to rejuvenate so that you can make better videos. Yes, 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 yes to yourself. Because when you say yes within, it has to be yes without. So if we up this number, not 20 grand anymore, let's just say 100 grand. And you start to meet some people who do have the budget to hire 20 grand, to hire you to make 20 grand, literally. Because one of the workshops that I attended, and the story that the founder told us, it just blew me away. Like, this stuff is like, it's possible, especially in Australia, like tall poppy syndrome and stuff. It happens. So for him, it was like one person had 100 grand, but let's just say multiple people who have several $1,000s to say yes to you. That's all it takes. It takes meeting the right people who have the resources to hire you, or just a bit more people with lower capacity to say yes to you. But ultimately, all it is getting a yes from the world. And how do you get a yes from the world? It's by you stop rejecting yourself. And self-rejection is you literally creating that long 10-step distance through your ego and putting conditions between you and how you feel upon having what you want, that if I make $1 million, then I'll feel safe. Instead of, I feel safe, that's why $1 million come to me. Because all it takes is several yeses from people who love my inner character, who see me as qualified enough, who love to invest in me. All it takes is several people, several stakeholders to just get a yes from the world to have that money. It's not hard. And so, that is how you detach. Okay, so if you enjoy this video and you want to work one-on-one with me later down the line, I will have a waitlist down below for coaching, which I'll be opening up soon. And my purpose is to help high-achieving women reach their tipping points in 8 to 12 weeks by raising their inner world ceiling so that they can finally merge their desired reality and themselves together quite easily. Hope you have a great day today and see you soon.